A swing and a miss. I am Joseph. This is Input English. For those of you joining us for the first time, Input English is a channel created for you. This channel provides content that is useful as comprehensible input for the purpose of improving one's listening comprehension and speaking ability in English. Comprehensible input is arguably the best way to learn the English language. So a swing and a miss, what's that all about? Well, that's an expression that you'll hear in English from time to time, and it comes from baseball. Now, I am at risk to give you the mistaken impression that I know much about baseball, that I like baseball, or that I participate in baseball, and none of those things are true. It's not that baseball is bad, it is that I have no interest in baseball. I have other fish to fry. But baseball has been a contributor to American culture over the long term, and a lot of terms have come out of baseball and been included into the expressions that Americans use. And certainly a swing and a miss is one of those expressions. So in baseball, you may know that one of the players on one of the teams is called a pitcher, and they throw the ball past the batter. The batter is on the opposing team. The pitcher is trying to prevent the batter from hitting the ball, and the batter is trying to hit the ball. So these two opponents are playing against each other. There is a third important ingredient here, and that is fairness. So there is an umpire, a referee, who is watching very closely to make sure that the pitcher does not take advantage of the batter by playing some sort of unsportsmanlike trick. The pitcher is not allowed to throw the ball too far away from the batter to where they couldn't reach it. The pitcher is not allowed to throw the ball behind the batter. The pitcher is not allowed to intimidate the batter by throwing the ball and hitting him. So fairness is determined by the umpire. In this game of baseball, if a pitch is thrown, the batter tries to hit it, and frequently the batter misses. They swing the bat, but make no contact with the ball, and that is a swing and a miss. So that's where this phrase came from. But when we use it in day-to-day life, it is a metaphor. And you know how much I'm in love with metaphors. Metaphors are a way that ordinary people like you and me can express our thoughts poetically. Metaphors allow us to take advantage of the beauty of the English language. Now, metaphors need to be clear enough that they're not some sort of strange puzzle. Let's go back to baseball. When you throw a pitch past the batter has to have a reasonable chance of being able to hit it. So the same thing applies to metaphors. If you hurl a metaphor at someone and it's strange, obscure, and you've created it like a riddle that a normal person would never be able to understand, then that's not fair. The difference is in conversation, we don't have an umpire. There's nobody calling balls and strikes. There's nobody telling us that our metaphor was unfair. Now, what we do have is the expression on the face of the person we're trying to communicate with. If you use a metaphor in speech and the person gives you a facial expression that indicates that they have no idea what you're talking about, if you get a grimace, like that is an indication that what you did was not useful. We get this kind of feedback in conversations. So why am I using this term today in this episode, a swing and a miss? Well, it describes an experience that happened yesterday. And what happened yesterday to me is really a slice of life. That is, it is something that happens to everybody and will sound familiar one way or the other. So to set the stage, so you'll understand this, yesterday I decided to make a video and post it to YouTube. It is my habit, it is my schedule, and I accept that. I had a plan to go to a state park and make a video walking and talking and show you a lot of interesting things. So what happened? I got there, found a parking place, set up the camera, and I was off to the races. I was doing what I was supposed to do. I was recording a video, getting it onto the SD card so that I could edit it and post it to YouTube. Everything went great. It was a long walk and I had a lot of video. It also took a long time. So when I started editing the video, it was fairly late in the afternoon, early evening. There were a lot of video clips that I needed to put together and organize, so it took longer to edit that video than usual. No problem, this is what I do. I'm okay with that. But I didn't start uploading that video until well into the evening, just before 8 o'clock. And it was a long video, so the upload took a long time. When I finish an upload for one of these videos, before I publish it to YouTube, I actually watch that video beginning to end to make sure there's not some major flaw that I would regret posting to YouTube. It's the final check before I publish that video. I finished my final check last night, just before 1 a.m. It looked okay. I did the keystrokes to publish it at 1 a.m. per usual and went to bed. Going to bed that late is not my norm. It's not what I had in mind, but I felt that it was necessary and appropriate to maintain the mission here of publishing a video every day. I'm not very good at sleeping in. If I stay up late, that doesn't mean I'm going to sleep in. I usually get up fairly early. And so, bottom line, I didn't get a lot of sleep last night. Now, this is not a complaint. This is just a fact. So, true to form, I got up, put the coffee on, and settled down in my chair to see how the video was doing that I had uploaded. It wasn't there. It wasn't published. I was astonished. So I went into the software. What I discovered is that I scheduled the publication of that video after midnight. And so the usual settings on the software put the following day's date on it. And that's what happened, but I didn't notice it. I could have fixed it, but I just didn't notice it. I have habits of how to do things to make these videos, and the habits didn't serve well last night because things were out of kilter. That is, things were a little off because the upload took so long. So what I discovered is that hard-earned video that I worked so hard to put up was never published. Now, I knew it would be published just the next day. And so if you're following this channel, I'm talking to you now, but this video publishes later. And before this video publishes, that walk in the state park has been published as well. I put a lot of effort into making the video, editing the video, uploading the video, and in the end, it didn't publish because of a tiny little mistake that I made. And so it was a swing and a miss. Now, does it matter? No. We language learners have an interesting relationship with mistakes. Society doesn't really reward mistakes. Our teachers in school did not reward mistakes. Mistakes caused lots of problems for us in school, and so people bring that to their language learning programs. And I did that myself. I was very conscious that I didn't want to make any mistakes. I didn't want to make a grammatical error or a pronunciation error. I didn't want mistakes to be part of my program. Well, you might look at that and think, well, that's just a conscientious language learner who wants to be so good as to eliminate mistakes. But that isn't the way I see it now. My take on this aggressive avoidance of mistakes as a huge inhibitory force on our program. It keeps us from moving forward because mistakes are part of life. Remember the quote, "To err is human." I used to worry that if I made a mistake speaking, that event would reinforce that error and I would learn it and then be doomed to repeat it time and time again. But that doesn't really happen. Really, the human brain is so well adapted to language learning, you can trust that if you make a mistake, your brain will sort it out. So yesterday, I worked hard to accomplish a goal. I made a mistake. It didn't work out, and it was a swing and a miss. But the sun still came up. It's still a beautiful spring-like day, and it turns out that mistake is no big deal. I invite comments below, and if you like videos like this, be sure to click on this one next. See you soon.